Mathematics Applications and Interpretation, Paper 1, Time Zone 1, HL, May 2025. This is question number 7 and it carries 8 marks. We have Conrad and he's investigating the motion of a particle. And the velocity of the particle is given to me in meters per second. And the velocity itself is given by trigonometric equation. And he's clearly mentioned that t is in terms of time, in seconds, and this is the graph. So when you get questions based on kinematics, make sure that you read the graph, like what is the x-axis and what's the y-axis. In this case, the x-axis is time and the y-axis is velocity. So there's a velocity time graph. Going further, we need to sketch the graph, which basically means that I'm going to use the calculator and update all the information that I get from the calculator, like the maxima, minima, and also any point of inflection, the roots, and all of that onto this graph. Label the coordinates points where the particle has zero acceleration. Let's say I had the distance time equation. If I differentiate the distance time equation, I will end up with a velocity time equation. And if that is differentiated, I'll get the acceleration equation. Now, if I integrate the acceleration equation, I would end up with the velocity time equation. And then further, if I integrate the velocity equation, I will end up with the distance time graph. So when he says that I need to find out the coordinates of the points where the particle has zero acceleration, I'm looking at differentiating the velocity time equation and then looking at the acceleration and finding out where it is zero. We can do this either by differentiating the function manually or by using the graph. We'll look at that, or by just looking at the velocity equation itself. Write down the integral expression for the distance. We will probably be using the calculator for this one and find the distance, that particle has traveled. Again, we're going to be using the calculator for this. We're going to jump into the first part of the question. So here we're going to be using the graph extensively and the equation itself extensively. What I would do is to define the graph on TI Inspire. So I'll use the definition operator like that. Now the equation has been defined. I will go ahead and add a graph to this one. Because I have already defined the equation, I simply can write y is equal to f of x. And that's my graph. Couple of changes. I need to make sure that the graph is defined from 0 to 6 only. So I'm going to go back. I guess that should be good enough. Now, a couple of pointers. I needed the graph only till 6, so I'm going to draw another equation over here. So that's your graph. You would update all of these values onto the graph given in the answer sheet. And what you also need to notice is that the function which is starting from here till this point. That's all you need to plot. You don't need to go above or below 0, and above 6. You don't need to go there. So what you need to also notice is that this curve is concave downwards here, and then the curve is concave upwards till this particular point somewhere. And again, the curve is concave downwards, and then there is a concave upwards. So what we know is that this point here is going to be a non-stationary point of inflection. And again, here somewhere I will have a point of inflection. Now these are the 2 points where the tangent is going to be cutting through the curve. Now this is going to be a stationary point of inflection. So if I wanted to find the stationary point of inflection, I'll have to either go to trace and try to figure out what is that particular point over there where it is a 0, which could be a bit of a difficult task. For finding out the non-stationary point of inflection and the stationary point of inflection, I think we can differentiate the curve and then plot it. What I've done here is to plot the same curve on Desmos. Of course, you will not have access to Desmos on the calculator or during the examination, but this is done mainly for me to tell you how the graph actually is working. You can see that this is the actual graph, and what I've also done is to graph the differentiated function. So the blue one is the differentiated function. You can see that the differentiated function has a 0 over here, and that's the point where there is a maxima. There's another 0 over here, that's where we have a minima, and there is another 0 here, that is where we have a point of inflection. And this is the stationary point of inflection. Your non-stationary point of inflection come up here. Okay, and for us to get the non-stationary point of inflection, I'm going to be looking at the double differentiation of the function. So there, that gives you the non-stationary point of inflection to points where the function itself is 0. So this is another non-stationary point of inflection, and this here is, of course, the stationary point of inflection. I would like to show you the tangents for the curve. That's the tangent to the curve. You can see that the tangent is going to be parallel to the y-axis at some point, parallel to the x-axis at some point, and at that particular point, dy by dx is basically 0, somewhere there. Okay, and you can see that at the non-stationary point of inflection, the tangent is cutting through the curve, right? There, another point of inflection, and then we have one more point of inflection through which the tangent cuts to the curve. All right, so now the question is, how do I use the calculator to get the point of inflections? I will take this equation, differentiate. I have y is equal to 2 cos x plus sine 2x minus 0.2. When I differentiate this function, I will have negative 2 sine x plus 2 cos 2x. Let me go ahead and plot this curve. So that's my differentiated curve. And I'm looking at, okay, where all there is a 0. I've already mentioned the maxima and minima, so I don't need to bother about it. My focus is on the point of inflection. Now, the point of inflection is happening when the differentiated function is either achieving a maxima or a minima, right? So I'm going to calculate the So now I know that at x is equal to 4.712, there is a point of inflection over here. And at x is equal to 1.57, there is a point of inflection. Now this point is easy to find out because that is still the 0 of the equation. So that's going to be a bit easier. I can find out f of 4.712 and then hit enter, minus 0.02. So that is going to be your point of inflection. So you can go back and update that also. So multiple ways in which you can do this one. You can choose whatever you want to. Ultimately, we don't need this graph, the red graph. We don't need that. So we just need the blue graph. So I'm trying to show you here what we have got and what is the mark scheme. So you can see that he has given us the maximum point, which we got here, and then the minimum point, and that is that 2.618. And he also gives us the point of inflection at this particular point here, along with the zeros. If you can go ahead and mention all the zeros, not an issue at all. All right. I would suggest that you also mention the zeros just in case, just to be on the safer side. All right. Now, label the coordinates, the points where the particle has zero acceleration. What does it mean that the point has zero acceleration? These are the points where the differentiated function is zero. So you can do that on the calculator, which we have already done, and which is this. Dy by dx equal to 0. And another point where dy by dx equal to 0. And that is where the point of inflection is 4.712, which we found out using the calculator. That the y coordinate is minus 0.2. Let's now look at the next part of the question. Write down the integral expression for the distance velocity equation, which is the given equation actually, and integrate it from 0 to 6. And that I'm integrating with respect to t. Now let's go back and look at the curve. You can see that some part of the curve is under the x-axis. And what I know is that all this area will come out to be negative. And this area will come out to be a positive. Right? So for me to integrate, I will convert all of these area to positive by taking a modulus. And how can I do that? I can simply say mod on this. Let's go back to the and that's the area, which is 7.765, and I can write that as 7.76. All right, so you don't really need to integrate it and then give the answer for right part bi. You don't need to do that. You just need to write this, right? Or you can list the entire function over here. Yeah, that is also fine. So that's 2 cos t plus sine 2t minus 0.2 dt. All right, so that's how you solve this question. That's a lot of effort from my end to make this particular video and then to edit and upload. Request you to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.